What is up, team iCoach Nutrition, and welcome back to iCoach Nutrition Radio. Today, guys, I have two special guests, Asha and Vivek, clients of mine that I'm currently working with and have had the pleasure of working with now for almost the last 5 months. And so I'm going to bring them on the show today. I've actually had them on the podcast before, kind of sharing their entrepreneurial journey. But today I get to bring them on to kind of share their journey of working together and going through iCoach University. So without further ado, Asha, Vivek. What's up, guys? How are you?
Hey, Justin. Yeah, we're doing good. Thank you for having us. It's always
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time. I know y'all are super busy there. I see y'all's dogs have come to make a podcast appearance. I love
yeah.
it. Um, but guys, let's dive right into it. Basically, the point of these podcasts with clients for the listeners here is I want to be able to share the journey of working together, share the journey of before we started working together, and then kind of the journey of our 6+ month kind of period of time, and everything that they're able to learn and incorporate into their lives. And so, guys, what I want to do first here is let's kind of dive into before kind of the journey before we started working together, right? Why was it, talk to me about your nutrition, your training, like what were y'all doing from a nutrition and training standpoint before we started working together? Talk to me about the diets and the different workout programs, all that different stuff that y'all are doing there, and what ultimately kind of led y'all to wanting to hire a coach and work one-on-one with a coach there.
Yeah, sure. And then that's an interesting question as well, because we have been doing one or the other thing with respect to workout in order to keep in shape and be healthy. It goes back to my parents. I mean, they are really healthy. They're like 80 plus and 70 plus, but absolutely no health issues, and they hardly go to doctors. They have really good teeth, eyes, everything in that age as well, and they always owe it to their natural eating and workouts. They do yoga and a lot more walking, but somehow we are not able to keep up with that because with their lifestyle. And so Asha and I have always been trying to work out, like some weight training, yoga. We had even taken up swimming, then racquetball.
And we
So
run.
we run, listen to something and keep running, that one. And then on eating wise, I would say we were, and looking back, completely confused. We have done so many types of diets. We have done every diet that you can think
Crash
of.
diets.
All right, from everything from being only on the green juice for 10 to 15 days, to keto diet, to paleo, like 100% protein and zero carbs,
IF.
everything. Oh, IF was the latest thing. Like when we started talking to you, we were doing. And honestly, I did lose 15 to 20 pounds 3 to 4 times, but it feels good that time, but it comes back and
Not
it gets
consistent.
not consistent or sustainable. So we were actually wondering, like, how do we get back in shape, fit body and mind. I'm very big on mind. We know that, I mean, that's the root cause of everything, and it can change or it can make or break. We really wanted to get in that, and we knew you through the podcast and through a common friend. And then we decided, okay, why we have been listening to Justin's others podcast, and he's been doing his nutrition. Why don't we just talk to him and understand what goes on there, right? Because we have done so many things. We'll just hear from him. And that's when we decided to call you. And I don't know if you told you, we that time we called you just to understand what you do. Okay, but the way you explained, we just ended up enrolling in the same call. And it's been great ever after that. We have never overthought about nutrition and mind and body so much after that, because it's just the awareness after that that's happened.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's amazing. I mean, as we start to think about that, and I'm kind of listening to it, a lot of people listening to the podcast right now, like this could definitely resonate with them as to like all of the different diets and training programs and things that y'all did. It's like it wasn't necessarily like a lack of effort or consistency or anything like that. It was just the simple fact that if I asked you the question, can you do this for the rest of your life? The answer was obviously no. And I've probably repeated that question multiple times over the last 4 or 5 months here with y'all as to like everything that we're doing here, can you do this for the rest of your life? Because if you ask yourself that question, right, and you can't answer it with a yes, then what is the point of even doing it in the first place? Because you're setting yourself up to just keep repeating this cycle of starting and stopping And I think when we think about living a healthy lifestyle, that's not something that you start and stop. Like it's just something you keep doing for the rest of your life, you know? So I love that. I think that's amazing. You know, and I think ultimately, like most people kind of have to get to that place, right? Where it's like they've tried everything under the sun and they finally realize like, okay, like I need to work with a coach. I need to work one-on-one with a coach. I need to get something that, you know, is actually individualized to me rather than me trying to like fit myself into this, you know, this cookie cutter box of a diet. Right.
Yeah.
So, Asha, we'll kind of break down both of y'all's kind of initial assessments here, but talk to me a little bit about you and, you know, obviously before we kind of started working together, right, we went through that initial assessment process and we started things off with that initial assessment call. And in that call, kind of like talk through some of those things that we highlighted, like what were some of those low hanging fruit as to like, hey, over the next 6+ months, we're going to really work on improving these things.
Yeah. See, always I wanted to be like lean and masculine, and those things like I always even like as Vivek told me, one of the other things we are keep doing it, like it was not like sustainable. It's not like long term. They're like, can you do this for your lifelong? Or you know, can you maintain it like lifelong? You know, these are not the things like the answer was like no. It's like you lose 20 pounds, 15 pounds again, you used to get back again. It's more than
In
that.
no
like
time, yeah.
25, 30 pounds you used to get back. And then I was when I started talking to you, the time that was I was on my highest like weight wise, and then not feeling good wise. Like your body can kind of tell you that, you know, you're feeling good or you're not feeling good. So those are the things. Like I always used to sometimes get bloated. We used to eat food, but not like thinking much what goes in there. Like are we eating enough vegetables? Like 800 500 to 800 grams is like it's not like enough, but you say that much vegetables you have to eat, but we never used to eat that much, you know. Your body needs that much of fuel or good fuel.
It is a roller coaster in nutrition, right?
So those were the things that you explained, that and the thing each call you used to explain me, like you have to eat this and you have to log in your food. And then over the last 5 months, it's like what I was now, what how I feel, and then, you know, everything, it has changed a lot. And then before, I maximum weight, I think I used to just lift like around 15 pounds, but now I can like lift like 25 30 pounds for just for the like upper body. Or I was telling you other day, like barbell hip thrust. So I started with 10 pounds. One day, somebody left with 45 pounds. I mean, not somebody, Vivek left with 45 pounds each. That's a total 90 pounds. And I did 6 to 8 reps, like 3 sets. Then I was like amazed.
Wow.
And that has never happened before.
Never happened before. And today, actually, I work from home. I mean, I did my gym workout at home because I didn't get time to go out. So Vivek had like 20 lb dumbbells each hand. I never used to lift those. I was so fearful that, oh no, I cannot do that. Today, easily, I was telling him, this is so light, you know, why am I feeling it so light? That feeling, right? I mean, it amazes me. Your food and your body relationship that I have learned in the last 5 months, it's amazing.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, I talk about it all the time, but like when I hear clients talk about these things, I mean, it makes me so happy because it's like, I mean, this is what I'm trying to instill in people and get people to see and to realize. And a lot of the times it's like, we don't know how good we can feel until we start feeling that way, because we have a million other things going on in life. And most people, right, don't have, like, they're not doing this for a living. It's not like their career, like they're not focused on this stuff all the time. Like for me, technically it's kind of easy to do this, right? Because I mean, this is obviously, I work with clients and all of that, but it's like, this is like part of my job is living a healthy lifestyle and leading from the front and setting that example. Right. So it's still hard for me too, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's way more of a focus for me than for a lot of other people. But when you hear something like doing a hip thrust when you first start, you're only doing 10 pounds, right? And then now you're doing 90 pounds for reps. I mean, that's amazing. You mentioned in one of our coaching calls there, in terms of bathing the kids, or no, bathing the dogs, right? So bathing the dogs, you would pick the dogs up out of the bathtub, and you used to have the lower back pain, and then now, like, when you do it, you don't, because you're getting so much stronger, right?
Yeah, and I would add to this one more point to this. After like, people really don't think nutrition is really a bigger key thing in how you want to look or how you want to feel. They just think that paying money and going to gym and doing that and this, but nutrition and real nutrition is so much of importance. Even we never had that thing that it has to be so much importance or awareness on this, but after talking to you, we say yes, nutrition is the utmost.
I mean, it just shows the difference, right? You don't have to, like, after a point, you don't have to have somebody like you to convince. I mean, you see the difference.
Yeah.
And for me also, it has been tremendous. I mean, the small points,
yeah.
right?
The skin, the feeling of your skin, it feels so good. People,
yeah.
like, they see now, oh, you're looking like younger day by day, that compliments. I mean, that you're doing something good, right?
So it knows that it works. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, and it's one of those things. I mean, we have like clear research showing and supporting and backing this, and it's just like, my job as a coach is to take all that research and all of that that's coming out, which definitely people are not paying attention to, right? And to bring it and simplify it and apply it to real world people living a real world life, right? And you had mentioned, kind of along with the skin there, right? Which is when you start eating better quality foods and getting the nutrition and training and all that in point, like seeing that skin, hair, and nails improve, like that's definitely a very common thing that we see. You also mentioned kind of like the digestive piece, right? So like, talk about a little bit kind of the digestion, the bloating before we started working together, and then kind of where it's at now.
Just to, right? Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
You want me to go? Or
Asha, I was asking you.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's like, I always used to be like bloated and not feel good, and it's basically, you don't feel good the whole day. Your head is not working properly, it's clogged, or lightheaded always, feeling like just lying down, or but now, after doing this food and then exercise and then doing all this thing, I feel very active. I never felt anything.
And I think it's good to mention this. It is related to health. We both had always like a gas-like problems, but it's gone. It's just gone, and those are small things that just tells you that these things work differently on you. You are what you eat, basically, right? That's how it is. So,
yeah.
I stole her lines.
Yeah, no, I love it. No, that's awesome. So, and Asha, if anything else kind of comes up to you as we're diving into Vivek, just let me know. I know there's a lot kind of tracing back.
I want to add one more thing. You remember that when we were like talking with one-on-one call, that whenever I get my periods, I get like lower back, and that day I don't work, or 2 days I don't work. But doing all this thing, I still go for gym and I still work out. I don't feel any pain, or very light. I mean, I would say, but not like how much I used to have like before. But even like some of the cycle used to be like 2-3 days ahead, or like more. Like, but after doing this, I was telling Vivek, like last 2-3 months, I see that it's correct on that day, like 28 or 29 days. The cycle, it's 28, 29 days.
And wow. I can add to that. I mean, she's less cranky, she's more normal, so I can spend more time with her.
Oh man, that's hilarious. I love it. Well, I mean, I think the big takeaway there is that it's amazing what happens when you start being more consistent with your nutrition and more consistent with your training. it leads to you having more consistent sleep. It leads to you having more consistent menstrual cycles. It leads to you having more consistent digestion, energy levels, hunger levels, everything, right? And so it goes to show it's like consistency, right? I mean, everything affects everything, right? And so when you start identifying the things that you're not being consistent with, and you start being consistent with those things, there's a carryover into all these other areas as well. And when you're consistently working on living a healthy lifestyle, you will consistently feel and look and perform your best, right? And that's the beautiful part about this, right? It's like, nutrition and training, like nutrition and movement, like it is medicine,
Absolutely.
and we've known that for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, right? We had Einstein or Aristotle, or I don't remember who, so Socrates, somebody like that. They said, may nutrition be thy medicine, right? And that was something that was said so long ago. So I love it. That's amazing. Vivek, talk to me a little bit about your your journey. So before we started working together, right? And then from there, we kind of started getting into the initial assessment before we kind of set up that game plan and that strategy for what the next 6+ months are going to look like. So what were some of those big kind of red flags for you when we first started working together?
Yeah, sure. And then I remember some of those things. Even now, it is kind of sat in my head forever. Like I remember when we did the initial assessment, you ran us through, I think, a 1 week or so through the eating habits, like what we were eating, logging them. And what I realized after that initial assessment is these are your words, and they sat in my head forever. Because later when we are consistent, this 5 years, months down the line, that has shown a lot more difference. I was literally on a calorie roller coaster. One day I would eat 800 calories, next day I would eat 2000 calories, then the third day another 1000 calories, and then amount of protein which I had never focused on. Though my goal in life is always to be masculine, have 6 packs. Okay, my goals I'll tell you in my life, and I'm not shy about it. I want to have muscle, 6 packs, and I want to be rich, and I'll get there. I know that I'll get there. Okay, so because of that, but I never focused on protein, and that was an amazing realization I had when you were explaining that. My protein intake was like 15 grams per day, 20 grams per day, and then I was always wondering why is that muscles are not building even if I do work out. So all those things, and then clearly through the body comp. And then we did the body comp analysis. We saw, I mean, the fat content was much more. Definitely, that's where we all started. There were a few more things I would tell you, and there was like before and after that. I always used to have constant headache, which was there, and which always used to bother me. That it creates that feeling of you're not fresh, you're not active type of thing, right? So those were some of the things that were happening. And once we got into this program, the importance of being consistent was the most important. I mean, the most important thing that came to me, and that slowly has made tremendous difference for me. By nature, I always look at a cause and effect thing. So if you want to find, not only the nutrition or anything, if you want to find if something is really effective, you got to go and find out whether is it making any changes in your life? Is it making any difference, right? And for that, you have to have a minute observation. You don't want to be like a get rich quick scheme. I mean, all these diets are like that, right? You want to get rich, and there's nothing like that in life. And we are entrepreneurs. We know it. There's nothing like that. And so I saw some of the things after a couple of weeks or after a couple of months, right? That headache feeling is completely gone. I feel fresh, and that was an amazing indication to me that what difference it can make. And that's one. And then I started working consistently with the workout program, and went exactly like getting the form right first, and then go on increasing the weight. That just makes sense than getting into an injury, because I have seen people getting injured. I used to have an elbow pain because I used to just go and just lift 40 pounds and start doing things, and then suddenly I'll have the elbow pain and everything. So that's all gone, and I feel active, get good sleep. And for me, I'm very big on mind and body, because that's the fundamental basis of life. And like my father always used to tell me, if you're alive and healthy, you can do a lot of things. you cannot do anything if you're not alive and not healthy. Forget about it, right? So those are the basis, the values that we grew up with. It was not hard to see that difference. It was almost like, for me, I was with the flashlight in dark. I was always searching for these answers, and these were coming to me one by one as an indication. A lot of small things, actually, for me, like Asha said, right? We love driving. We love long drives, and whether it's a long drive or a long aeroplane ride, always used to have this lower back, where the monkey tailbone is there, that pain. So I cannot sit for a long time. And this time we went to Destin, 12-hour drive, zero, absolutely nothing. And wherever we got down, we were feeling like fresh, healthy,
Not
always.
Like
Not like that lethargic feeling, and that's the right word. You feel like lethargic, lie down somewhere, not like that. We're always on the toes, keep moving. And once you start seeing these differences, there is no reason why we go back to what we had.
Yeah.
This is making difference. This is making, in fact, I'll tell you one other thing that happened. This awareness is actually helping us a lot in terms of even preparing food, because we can make our food within 5 minutes now. Which earlier used to take a lot of time. You have to plan, because Asha is busy in the business side. I am busy. So we make our food like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it's still tasty. It achieves your goal. So what else do you want, right? So those small results is what matters. And when I take bath, I feel my muscles, and that's a great feeling, I'll tell you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, man, it's amazing. When you first start this journey, right? For a lot of people, right? It's really, it's hard. It's challenging, right? You're battling adversity. There's all these different things that are going on. But like, to hear y'all, 5 months down the road here, and it's like, hey, I used to spend this much time on grocery shopping and cooking and meal prepping and creating meals and planning my fitness pal the night before. And now it's something that's like super quick and easy. Right. And it just goes to show, it's like anything when you first start doing it is hard. I always make the comparison of like buying something from IKEA and looking at the instruction manual, and I'm like, oh my God, like I can't put this together. Like, and then you do it and you're like, oh, well, that actually wasn't that bad. Right. We always blow things out of proportion. We always make things seem like they're going to be harder than what they're going to be. And rightfully so when it comes to nutrition and training stuff, right? Because you've been sold a story of all these, these it's too good to believe true, or it's too good to be true type of situations and stories there, right? It's kind of like what you said with the entrepreneur piece there with, right, the get rich quick scheme. So it's just cool to see what happens when you trust the process and you play the long game, and you try to convince yourself slowly but surely to fall in love with the process and the journey and everything that it's going to do for you and help you become, right, the person that you're trying to become, because that's what you're working to. And we can get really caught up on like the outcome, right? Like, I want to lose this amount of weight, but if you don't learn to like enjoy the process and the journey, no different than anything else in life, then it's just not like, you're not going to stick with it. It's not going to be something that transforms your life. It's just going to be another thing that happened in your life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think you have one life. Your body deserves this, right? You got to give this time and effort. And one point you made, right, this has been proven over hundreds of years. That's how humans are born. That's how humans are evolved. So it kind of makes sense.
This is a slow process. You have to be really patient.
Yeah.
That I remember that you had, I was like getting very frustrated with seeing the number on the weighing scale.
Yes.
So you made a point, it's just a machine, and that's just a number. So my work would be just log in, just see what happens, but not to worry on that number. That really helped with the number seeing same, but with seeing the pictures before and after, you see the difference, but number is,
and the weightlifting,
it's the same, and weightlifting, right? So that shows there is a change, but don't worry on the number on your scale, but you keep going. And I know that this has made me realize that I need to be really patient with my body. Like I told you, right, it's just the my cycle is 28, 29 days. It's just the last 2 months, but I have been doing it for 5 months. So that 3 months, after 3 months, this is a result. So your body also takes some time to get used to it. So you have to be really patient. So
Yeah.
Man, I love that right there. That's an amazing takeaway for your listeners right here. I need to echo that from the rooftops. Patience, patience, patience. And it's so much easier to say than to do, right? But like they're a testament, to what patience looks like and what it does for you. We talked about, Vivek, you mentioned there, like you have one life, right? And, a big thing that we talk about a lot, and I've seen this even carry over, is like, y'all are parents, you have kids, right? I work with a lot of parents with kids. And, at the end of the day, I get so many questions around how do I teach my kids to eat healthy or this or that, right? But like, really what we got to do is we got to look at ourselves in the mirror and we got to ask ourselves, what are we doing? How are we living our life, right? Because ultimately, once you start to transform your lifestyle, the kids or the family or the coworkers or the friends, like they will follow suit, because you will lead from the front and you will be that example, and they'll see what it does for you in terms of you starting to feel better and look better and perform better, and they'll want to be a part of that. So can you talk on that a little bit? Like how has this process and journey in terms of the transformation in y'all's life, how has that kind of affected y'all's kids there?
Yeah, definitely. And I'll let Asha jump in after I say a few things. And this is the truth about life itself, right? That you become basically who you surround yourself with, right? That's it. But there is a one saying that I believe with my all heart out is, if you are with 4 millionaires, you'll be the fifth one. If you are with 4 broke people, you'll be the fifth one. And it is so true. It is so true about these habits as well. So our kids are seeing us now, right? In terms of like what we eat, we work out, we make time for workout, we plan our things around that. And it has taken some time, but there's no point forcing these kids. I mean, it's the same thing like doing crash diet. So let them see, they ask questions, why are you eating this and other things, and it keeps on going that way. And now our elder one, she plays a lot of tennis, which we shared with you. You gave us this PDF, so we sat and talked to her the same thing about protein, veggies, and the water. And we are seeing slowly changes in their eating habits. So they actually focus on protein. In fact, apple a day had changed it to avocado a day now. Right? I mean, some of those things, we always have a lot of avocados at home now. They're always there. We just line them up like raw and they're ripe, so they just keep coming in line. So I would say the eating wise, their habits have gone up. They are not fussy about eating. My younger one has a sweet tooth, always used to go heavy on sweet. Now that has changed to sometimes. There's one difference we made. I think you mentioned that. I remember that.
Yes.
Don't stuff desserts at home, right? That becomes a
If
food.
you want to just
Go out and eat, then that has a value, and then you can eat a little bit, which is true. Otherwise you can end up eating 2000 calories in one dessert. That's what it used to happen with our kid. So that has changed, and she has started appreciating it. In fact, she has started appreciating the fact that dessert once a week or sometimes tastes a lot more yummy than actually eating it every day. So there's those small things, and it has made Asha's job easier in terms of cooking. We all cook the same thing. It's even faster now and easier. Right?
Yeah, I would add one more thing, like my kid being 2 girls, so I want their uh, like during time of the month, right? So it has to go like normally, not like they have to sit. I always tell, when my elder one, she got when she got her periods, then I said, okay, my tummy is hurting, so I said, take a bike and go, you know that's fine. So she does that. I mean, from the beginning and now also, if she has something, she won't stop, she won't sit at home. She does, she goes to tennis and she goes, plays, and come back. Those things. So I want them, their life to go easy. It's like being a woman, like their period thing, and then having babies, and then having the later life, and then see, I started all this when I was like 42 now. See, so when they start now at this young age, then look at their future, right?
Yeah, if that becomes their habit now, that consistency and the lifestyle, I mean, it's just going to do great for them in future. That's
Absolutely. Well, and that was one thing, we talked about a lot, right? With just women in general. You mentioned the menstrual cycle several times, right? We also have like menopause that comes up eventually, right? So we want to, like what those years leading up to menopause look like for you, a lot of the times determines how menopause goes for you. And then the other piece we talked about a lot was like with the strength training piece and eating an adequate amount of protein and preventing things like osteoporosis later on in life there, right? And so these are all things that are very undervalued, but if we can start prioritizing them and getting consistent with them and see the value in doing it, then I mean, it is truly life changing. But Vivek, I want to ask you one piece I can't believe you left out of our assessment here: the sleep piece. When we first started working together, if I'm not mistaken, how many hours of sleep were you averaging there?
About 4 to 5 hours.
Four to 5 hours of sleep. So how's your sleep doing now, and how have you started to prioritize sleep, and why do you prioritize sleep now?
Yeah, I mean that was another huge realization. I agree. I left that out and has made tremendous difference. Honestly, right? We being entrepreneurs, sometimes things come in the night. So like we have talked about it many times. So having one time to sleep, let's say 8 p.m. I sleep, it hardly happens for us. So it's very dynamic. But after talking to you, we try and get the sleep some in the afternoon, but try to hit like 7 hours of sleep. I'm averaging 7 hours every day. In fact, like I was watching closely after coming back from vacation again that I'm actually till today consistently have hits at least like 7 hour 30 minutes, 7 hour 20 minutes. It's just going that way. What I've found difference is the sleep. The good sleep has made me more active. I'm able to actually lift more weights. There have been days where I don't get sleep, and if I go to gym, I'm not at best of my performance. I don't even know whether it really helps muscles, which I believe it's not, because it's all connected. But I have seen differences in lifting the weights. I have seen differences in focus, when we're doing something, the efficiency, right? What you can do in what I used to do, let's say in 2-3 hours, now I can do it in 1 hour, because it's the focus that gives. So definitely a lot more small differences that I have seen with sleep.
We never thought that we have to give so much of importance to sleep before. Like after talking to you, yes, sleep is important.
It just brings a lot more focus and the active lifestyle for sure. So that has helped tremendous. Yes.
Yeah. I love that. I think I mean, at the end of the day, sleep is definitely one of the most undervalued, factors out there. And when we hear that we're supposed to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night, most people laugh. They're like, ha, I wish, right? Like that's their response. And it's like, you wish, like, no, like this isn't an option, right? Like you brush your teeth every day because you don't want to get cavities and spend all this work on dental work. Like I know you maybe don't have the immediate repercussions like you do with that, and maybe it's more of a long-term thing, but like sleep is so important. I mean, I cannot talk about, I've had so many people come to me where their training, their nutrition was on point, but they're sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night and wondering why they feel like crap, look like crap, and perform like crap. And I'm like, it's like the sleep, it's screaming at you, like it's like it's lighting up. It's like fix this. Like this is the. So anyways, I could rant on sleep all day long. I had a discovery call yesterday with somebody who was inquiring about coaching, and that was one of the things that was the biggest game changer for him that he had kind of figured out on his own before he even came to me when we had that conversation yesterday. He was like, I neglected sleep, and I saw that what that did to my hormones, testosterone levels like dropped significantly, like sex drive dropped significantly. And so it just goes to show, like, chronically living in a sleep deficit 100% starts to affect you from a hormonal standpoint, and then all of these other kind of symptoms that we've discussed there. So guys, I always ask this question to every client that I work with, because I think it's so important. There are a lot of different training programs. You can go buy a meal plan for $99, whatever, right? But I'm a big believer in one-on-one coaching being the best way to go about it, because again, it's like if people think about all the money that they've spent up into this point on all these different diets and whatever else, like and they still feel lost, and they still feel like they haven't developed the skill set, they're not confident in it going forward, then that's crazy. Like I want people when they go through iCoach University after 6+ months of working together to feel confident that they have developed the skill set and that they are going to be able to stay consistent with this for the rest of their life. So when you think about investing in yourself, right? There's nutrition coaching out there for $100 a month, $200 a month, $300, $400, $500, $600 a month. I mean, there's a lot of different coaches out there. But when we had that conversation around money and price and all that, and investing in yourself, when y'all heard kind of, hey, we're gonna have to invest $3,000 into the next 6 months of this nutrition and training journey, how did y'all validate that? Like, why did y'all see the value in that?
So I'll start on that one. I have always seen one thing, Justin, and it's with respect to, I mean, it's the same is true with the nutrition and the workout of the body, right? That I have always seen people who invest in themselves have always been more successful. And by success, I don't mean always money. I've always seen them happy, consistent, and going. And I mean, the examples are out there. Even you look at the most successful athletes to even the actors or even the writers, they all say the same thing. And having tried a lot of things, and some of those things, including taking subscription to those YouTube workout programs, we have done that too. She's laughing because Asha took one and I was following that. That just does not work, because I think after this awareness also, I mean, we realize it more is everybody is different, and it needs some time to go through and see how tweaking needs to be done, and it just works, right? So for us, it didn't take much time to think, because we knew for sure that what we needed was a little bit of a deep dive on each one of us, like separately for me and for Asha, to go through and understand what's going on with my body. And the goal being that, like I said, I just want to be muscular and fit throughout, and now I can see that I'll just get better and better. That's it. That I'm very confident on that one. So unless you invest in yourself, you're not going to get whatever you want to do. I mean, irrespective of anything that you want to do in life, if you are it's just not going to happen. And that can happen only through a proper focused one-on-one coaching. So for us, it was not about $3,000. I mean, the ROI on this is much more higher. We know that, whether it's a body or it's a business. In fact, it is helping us in our business is so much we cannot tell you. Okay,
it's a small thing. I would say that if you go on the internet and find, so I want to be lean and muscular, I want to lead a healthy life, there are a lot more things that come up. That's what we read, and we do crappy things and we screw up our body and everything, right? So investing in ourselves and then having this nutrition coaching with you is like small things that you explain. Everything is not there in what you go and read in Google, right? Google, it's like people like us. We don't have a nutrition knowledge, nothing about it, and they go right? And we read that and we try to follow that. What are you going to achieve in that, right? So
there are things even we have. I mean, I have found that somebody says that, hey, oat is good, and the other guy says oat is not good for you. So I mean, it's everything is there, right? So what are you gonna follow?
It's like, see, that's what people have to prioritize in their life, is that investing in themselves is such a big thing that we realize, right? We invest so many, we buy good clothes, we buy those things, and we go eat out. Like, once you go out in every week we spend around $90 to $100. It's like $400 per month. Why can't you invest in yourself, right? Though,
yeah, people...
and that's your health, your life, you have to invest on. So yeah.
I mean, I would say when it comes to investing in themselves, for people, like for us, it was not a second thought. It was not about that 3,000 or anything. We just knew that it has to happen. It has to be focused. It has to be something that works for me. It has to be something that someone listens, looks at me, and then tells, okay, what needs to happen, right? I mean, those are very important things. So I would say, I mean, there should not be even second thought on investing on yourself.
Each body needs like different inputs or different tweaking. Everything is not available on Google.
Yeah, one size does not fit all, right?
Yeah. Right. So
Hey, well, if we think about iCoach and where that name came from and how it was developed, and it's like that I in iCoach stands for individualized, right? So that's my goal is like, you're 100% right. Every single person in this world is different in some regard, right? If not multiple regards. And so like, we have to, my job as a coach for both of y'all there was like to meet you where you were in your own journey. And of course, there's some similarities. Y'all are married, right? Y'all live under the same house, all of that. But even within that, there's tons of differences, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's the beauty of one-on-one coaching. And that's something that group coaching or an ebook or a meal plan or any of that's not really going to be able to do. And so I think that's an amazing takeaway there. So I want to leave off with this. And I might be putting you on the spot here if you haven't thought about it, but I'm sure y'all have probably thought about it quite a bit. Asha, I'll start with you. If you're thinking about, right, we're coming up on 5 months here, coming up on 6 months, right? If you're thinking about what's happened in these last 6 months, and you think about what's going to happen over the next 6 months, the next year, the next 3 years, the next 5 years, what are you most excited about for this new lifestyle kind of going forward in terms of everything that you've learned and the habits that have changed and just the goals that you want to continue to work towards and accomplish? Because as I've mentioned to y'all many times, right, is like, I'm so excited of everything that y'all have accomplished thus far, but it's just the beginning, right? I mean, this is the beginning of a very, very long journey. Y'all got 50 years ahead of you, 60 years. I mean, you got a long time ahead. So what are you most excited about as we move forward, Asha?
So for me, the most exciting part is like uh, the, the day we started this and the goal I want to reach. Like people have to stop and ask me, so what did you do, right? how did you how did your body become like this, or how did what made you like you're looking like this in your 50 years, like 50 year of age, or like 45, 46, whenever I reach that goal, right? So that would be my rewarding thing, it's the most satisfying thing, like people asking me, what did you do to reach, look like this,
look young forever.
Yeah.
And the beautiful part about that will be is when they come to you and they ask that question, you'll be able to give them an honest, true answer of what it truly takes. Not, oh, I did fit tummy tea or detox this, you know what I mean? Like, because that's what people think when they go and they see these things happen. They're like, oh, well, they must have done Jenny Craig or whatever, right? And so it's just a beautiful opportunity, for all of the transformations, for people to be reminded that, hey guys, like, we do not have to make nutrition and training and all this stuff like super crazy complicated. Like, I know your life is complicated, so let's try to simplify this, simplify the process and make it work for you and your specific lifestyle that you live. So I love that. I think that's amazing.
It's like in a month I became like this.
Yeah. Patience.
I mean, patience, right? And consistency and patience. They have been seeing like how I was, and then slowly, like in 2-3 years, becoming like that. So it takes time.
That's such a great point, because again, like, people aren't going to come up to you and start asking those questions, right, until they've actually seen you follow through with the process, and you're actually like, you're not just talking the talk, but you're walking the walk, right? Like anybody, I mean, we know, right? Anybody can lose weight. Like, it's not hard to lose weight. What happens though is that they lose the weight and then they gain it back plus more. And that's the vicious cycle there. I mean, nobody wants to lose weight, get all the compliments, feel good about themselves, and then gain the weight back plus more. I mean, what that does for your psyche there, I mean, that sucks, like nobody wants to, like you're in your own head about it, right? So it's just one of those things where it's like, yes, guys, patience. It's going to be reminded to y'all a million times in this podcast. I'm sorry if you get tired of me saying patience, but I promise you it's a great reminder. And it's a great reminder for myself with being an entrepreneur, right? Or any of my nutrition and fitness goals, like with y'all being entrepreneurs, it's the same thing, right? Like nobody changes their mindset or changes their life or any of this stuff overnight. It takes time, right?
Yeah.
So I love that. So Vivek, I know we've talked about a lot about this, but what are you most excited about as you kind of look into the next 6 months, next year, next 3 years, next 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you and I spend time, right, talking about it. I'm always this big picture guy. I always see myself 6 months, 1 year, 10 years down the line, and that's where I tell you, I look myself to be more masculine with six packs and a lot richer. I'll tell you that will happen.
And in the magazine, he'll be like,
she makes fun of me with that one. So for me, what excites me a lot is what we have achieved through these last 4.5, 5 months. It just shows me that those dots are getting connected. I'm getting there. And I'm seeing that picture more and more brighter and clearer and crisp now. And where this is going to take me is, say, I mean, every day or every month, I just see better myself. When we do the body comp, when I'm brushing my teeth, I see my muscles. Okay, but and I see that, like my posture, my standing, and I don't know how whether people realize this or not. Having a good body and being healthy just boosts your confidence in all areas, and that is I'm very big on that, because particularly like we being entrepreneurs, that's a big thing for me. I want that, and if my mind and body gives me that, I'm taking it no matter how much effort I have to put in it. So over the next 5 months, 6 months, or 1 year, what excites me is that it's just gonna get better and better. I see myself clearly. I see myself how I'm gonna look like, how I'm gonna operate in the business or anywhere, or even if I'm standing somewhere, like she said, like on magazine, it will look. Okay.
just on a lighter note, morning if he calls all three of us, like me and my two daughters, then we'll think, he's going to show his muscles. So we all will be like,
hey, feels good. Okay. Easy till I became 42 to build. And that's another thing, Justin. Okay? I'm 42, I'm able to build muscles. I was told that you cannot build muscles after 40. Remember, I had asked you this question in the beginning, and that's amazing thing what you can do. Of course, might take a little more efforts. That's fine. I mean, and again, I was just saying, when you're talking, nothing comes easy in life. Whether it's a body, it's money, your effort. Okay, it's just that keep working through. It has been proven over time, over the years. Just trust the process. You cannot be expert in everything. Just leave it to someone who knows and just follow it. Right? I mean, that's what we are doing, honestly.
When my friend called and said, yeah, my back is hurting or my leg is hurting. Yeah, it happens. I think after 40, it starts, you start seeing, right? The age is going down. Then I say, okay, you will see me after a few years.
I want to share one more thing. We had a Diwali. It's a Indian festival 2 weeks back, and Asha and I, we take it's about family get together, and we both took pictures, and I think she put it on her profile, and we got a lot of comments that these two guys just get younger and younger. Okay, so like, okay, there you go, it's getting started. And honestly, I mean, that came from her cousins. They said like, okay, you guys, I don't know what you're doing, but you guys always look happy, younger and younger every year. So we're getting there, man. We're getting there. Thank you.
That's amazing. That's such, I mean, those types of compliments and seeing ourselves in the mirror and like all, I mean, these are all things that drive us and motivate us and make us happy and push us to want to keep doing it. Right. One question came to mind when y'all were mentioning all of these amazing things, which was like, Asha, when like, if we're thinking back to like the whole weight piece, right? Like, we talked about being patient. We talked about like, trusting the process, right? All of this stuff. So when you see something happening with the scale there, right? I mean, I always give the comparison of like, especially if you haven't been doing strength training consistently, you could lose 10 pounds of body fat and gain 10 pounds of muscle, and the scale shows nothing, a zero change, right? So how did you kind of like trust the process, right? When maybe you're seeing these things with the scale kind of not going in the way that you wanted to. Like, I mean, because for a lot of people, they see that scale number go up and automatically they're like, you know what, screw this, it's not working, I quit.
No, yeah, that I think every week that call happens. So I used to tell you that that my weight is not going down. It's just like that. I'm doing everything, but the thing you mentioned, it just stuck in my head. Think that that's just a machine. Just see the number, just log it. See the number, just log it. There is
body
no
count.
second thought. So I just blindly trusted on your belief that you are losing the you are losing the fat, but you're gaining the muscle. I
And you
just
did body counts,
blindly,
right?
yeah, believed in you. And then after a month, when I took a body comp, my weight was still that, but I could see my fat has gone, and I could see the muscles coming up. And then I could see when you touch here, I could see that muscle building up. Those small things like actually told me that yes, you have to trust this process. Just blindly trust this process and be patient, be consistent, and keep going, and you will reach your result.
In society, and then I know I'm not wrong by saying this. I'm sorry, I'm adding this one. In our society, there is a misnomer that being healthy is weight. And hey, I mean, and people always, and we were like that, right? We always wanted to lose weight, but why? I don't know. We just want to lose weight. But I think the greater thing, what we realize, it's not about the weight. It's about how you feel and can you make it part of your life. So now, muscles are good. They'll let you stand even when you're 90. Yeah, we have seen so many people, they do that right at that age. So it's about that. It's not about that short thing, just lose weight and you will look good. You might be actually crappy even after losing weight. And I have no doubt on that one. So it's about that. It's about building that lifestyle and making yourself overall healthy is what's important. I think that's what people need to understand.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think it's, what we've kind of mentioned a few times as to like what's defined as kind of that triangle of awareness, if you will, right? Like to your point, you can lose weight, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to make you feel better or perform better, right? And so really the goal here as we're going through this is like we want to start feeling better, we want to start looking better, and we want to start performing better. We want all three of those things to happen. Because that's ultimately what leads to you having a better quality of life, right? And wanting to, actually seeing the value in it and wanting to continue to prioritize it going forward. I mean, for me, I think to myself, I'm like, man, I've been in the fitness, industry now for 10, 11 years. And, it was probably the greatest reminder ever after I finally stopped being an athlete and stopped competing in CrossFit, because that was the first time I wasn't playing sports in my whole life since I was like 3. And in that first year, I saw myself like letting go of things, like not working out as much, like eating worse, drinking more alcohol, not prioritizing sleep, all those things starting to happen. And I thought to myself, I'm like, wow, it is so easy to not prioritize living a healthy lifestyle. It's so easy to fall into that. It's so easy to choose everything else over that. Yes. Until you have that scare, right? Or you have the grandchildren or whatever, but something happens and you have that light bulb moment of like, oh my God, like I got to start prioritizing this, right? And it's never too late, right? But why wait? Why not start now? Why not start working on this now? Because it's going to lead to such a better life. And I think it's just a great reminder for all of us that, don't take your health for granted, right?
The worst thing is you, hey, you need to start working on your weight or this. And it has happened with our friends. And then it's that now you are in that fear and you're frantically trying to work your things and to the nutrition and whatnot, right? So it's better to be proactive. I mean, human bodies are designed like that. So you just better invest and take care of it. That's all it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Much easier said than done, right? But hey, if you can start doing it, and it doesn't have to be crazy changes or something extreme. It's if you can slowly start making small changes, start stacking up little wins, it will lead to big wins and into a much better quality of life there. So guys, I could chat with y'all all day. I want to respect your time. I know we've got other things we got to get to here, but thank you so much for taking the time and doing this podcast and sharing kind of y'all's journey of us working together. I think that there's so much value in this episode. And so I'm excited to be able to share that with the listeners. Any final thoughts that y'all have that y'all want to share here before we sign off?
Well, I would say only one thing that, and I am a big believer on this, is your mind and body is everything. It's a fundamental basis for your life, no matter what you want to do, whether good or bad. It is the fundamental. And then I think it's one life, it at least deserves some investment. That's what I believe in. Right.
So yeah, I would say that women should not think that that strength training it's just for the men, and for us, by doing all the work, we get the body workout. So we should not do strength training anyway. We work. Yeah, they should prioritize on their nutrition and strength workout. They should not feel less that compared to them, the men. So equal importance, right, for your nutrition and taking care of your health, and then doing strength workout. It's very important.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree with that more. I think for both, men and women, but especially for women, it's like the strength that comes from getting stronger in the gym, what that does for every other aspect of your life is amazing. There's such a carryover in that. And so, yes, like take up space. Don't be afraid. Don't let that guy say, "Oh, this is my squat rack." Kick that dude off, take the squat rack, put on the weight and get strong, like it's an amazing thing that it'll do for you. And if I'm blessed with a daughter, I know for sure that is definitely going to be something that I work to instill in her. So guys, again, thank you so much for taking the time, and until next time.
Thank you so much, Justin.